You are listening to Bold Dreams Held Loosely, Visions Embodied. What does it mean to hold a bold dream loosely? It means imagining the wildest, most daring possible future for yourself and having the courage to set out toward it. It means faith in the process and in the destination that the journey makes possible, that only takes shape as you journey toward it. It's being completely open to what life unfolds before you, trusting your internal compass will guide you to a place beyond your most wild imaginings. Visions Embodied is a collection of stories from way stations on the journey to self-actualization and becoming. We are all on different journeys, but we never walk alone. My name is Taryn Watts, and I am the founder of the Mind Rebel Academy. Inside this series, I hold space for the stories of MRA alumni who are courageously walking their path towards their dreams. Inside these conversations, they share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of the road less traveled. Let these stories open your mind to what is possible. Laura is an MRA alumna who actually works with the MRA in supporting and guiding our students in activating and expanding their intuition in our coach training series. Based on the art of opening the heart, her unique inner framework is a powerful tool for coaches and spiritual aspirants who desire reconnection with their inner wisdom. With the deepest of love, Laura offers holistic coaching and spiritual mentorship programs to soulful humans all across the world. She is a certified Reiki master and has been teaching all 3 levels of Reiki since 2015. Laura's remarkable teaching approach focuses on profound and authentic personal transformation, where the awakening of the heart is paramount. Laura's work has redefined Reiki as the practice of love. She is the founder of Samilas Montreal, the largest trilingual Reiki community in Quebec. Alongside her Reiki peers, she hosts free distance healing circles in Spanish, French, and English. In 2022, she launched her program La Source en Soi, blending revolutionary practices such as the Mind Rebel methodology, theta healing, conscious breathwork, Reiki, and energy healing. She is also a certified mindfulness teacher and graduated from the Greater Good Science Center at Berkeley. Laura is proud of her Mexican roots and loves to sing rancheras with a mariachi band while sharing a good mezcal with her loved ones. As an artist, she is also part of a playback theater ensemble that uses the play to honor storytelling tradition. Laura is a perpetual seeker of truth who is convinced that love is the answer and aspires to bring more laughter and joy into her daily life. Laura, welcome to the Visions Embodied portion of the Bold Dreams Held Loosely podcast.
Thank you. And thank you for that beautiful introduction.
I want to sit back here and take in your story. I want to sit back and take in your story, take in your journey. Laura, you are someone who has accomplished incredible things in her life and has really created this life born from your soul. You've created this incredibly soulful life. Tell me about your journey and where for you the journey really began. And then we can move into what was the vision that you casted and created for your life.
That is a big question, where the journey began. Well, I think it began at a very early age, being a sad child, and then becoming a sad teenager, and then going forward to be a sad young adult. And there was always this not good enough reason for being sad. I was just sad. At the same time, like my adolescence, I started wondering about God's existence and questioning, why am I a Catholic and not a Buddhist or a Muslim? Where is the truth? And then I had the joy of finding my first mentor, who was my singing teacher. And she introduced me to meditation, to the spiritual world, to energy healing. And then it was like listening to her, something inside of me started vibrating in a yes. One day I learned, I went to a Reiki share where I received Reiki. And that day I knew I found the medicine that I needed. I didn't know exactly what it was. I didn't understood the process, but I knew there was the medicine. So from there, I just kept going. I did the training, learning Reiki. It took me a long time, but all this time it was just looking and looking and looking for something that could help me stop being sad. Gradually, it started happening, but the most important thing is that through Reiki, I learned how to stop resisting my sadness or my depression. I was able to allow it to be. And I became friends with my sadness. So I think that's where the journey, like all these pieces that I am sharing with you, were very important moments or milestones of the journey. Probably where it started really, maybe when my soul at a very high level said, okay, this is the journey I need to go through. Like, this is what my next chapter. But it brought me to this convincement that love can really heal it all. Because for me, Reiki is love. And I feel that Reiki has healed me. I didn't know I wanted to help people, but I did know that I want my days to count. I read one day, how many lives did you touch today? And when I read that, I said, oh, wow, yes, this is something that really resonates with me. And I realized that I wasn't touching the lives that I wanted to. It was a search for at least 3 decades of wondering, what do I want to do with my life? And then Reiki became more and more present. In 2015, I left my corporate job. I left all the security in a very I have heard your story, Taryn, and I know you planned all your steps and how much is going to be in the bank and what is I was just like, it's enough. I quit. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have like a certain amount at the bank.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that my soul couldn't take that world anymore. And very short after, my Reiki master, with whom I was doing my preparation to become Reiki master, told me, you are ready now. And she initiated me. And then I knew that that was going to be part of my journey to learn, to continue learning Reiki for myself so I could share Reiki with others. So since 2015, I had been teaching Reiki, trying to understand better what love is about. I still have so many things to learn. And then one day, someone told me about this amazing woman named Taryn Watts. And I started following you, and every time I would see a little clip of you on Facebook, something would call me. And then I met you. I asked for an interview, and here we are, 3.5 years later, maybe, having this conversation.
Laura, I just want to come back to something you said. Two things. The first thing, I made friends with my depression.
Mm-hmm.
What did that look like for you?
You know, when we go into a depressive state, which can be very close to the world of anxiety, we don't like what we're feeling, and we struggle because we don't want to feel what we're feeling. And we feel that we are failing at not being able or capable of getting out of that state. So there is what I learned years later, that in Buddhism we call it the second arrow. So the first arrow is how you are, is experience. Okay, I am sad, I am depressed. But the second arrow is all the judgment and all the resistance and all the conflict that you bring to this very simple thing that you are sad. So you start allowing your mind, your rebel mind, to activate all these thoughts like, I am not good enough, life is not good, I want to die, this is too hard. So then all the energy that you need to take to get rid of all those thoughts so you can come back and deal with the depression is exhausting. It's exhausting. So one day I saw myself. It's like if I was looking, being myself, but from another perspective. And I saw myself being sad and allowing it to be. So the word would be allowing. Not resisting, not judging, not criticizing, allowing, and maybe from experience, knowing and trusting that this will pass too. Because at least in my experience, depression is like waves. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. So no matter how long the wave is, it will pass. So I knew I could trust. So instead of fighting it, I would come back to myself and try to be gentle. And it's funny because, I had meditation, I had Reiki, conscious breathing. But at that moment, in those moments, it's really hard to say, I'm going to do my self Reiki or I'm going to sit and meditate. What you need is to be held. So if there is no one to hold you, you can hold yourself.
What wisdom did you access when you finally accepted and surrendered into the depression, into the deeper feelings? What wisdom was there for you?
It wasn't a conscious wisdom, but looking back, I know that the wisdom was the certainty that I was being held by God or the divine or the universe, however we want to call it. So I knew that I could trust that there is this energy bigger than us, capable of holding us at all times, even when we don't feel it. So I think at a very unconscious level, I was letting myself being held. Like, this word of surrendering is very important. we need to learn how to surrender, because I'm still learning. Don't think I I know how to do that very easily. It takes each time it takes a lot of work, a lot of trust and self-awareness. Yeah. But at that time, I wasn't really aware of that. But it's like this wisdom inside was pulling me towards that direction of, okay, just release. Like, what's the purpose of fighting it all if you don't even know you're gonna win? So just trust.
Was that the same wisdom that was guiding you out of the job that wasn't working for you, even without a plan?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about that, Laura. Like, as someone, like you said, as someone like me who, I can get wrapped up in all the planning and all the hows. I am someone, as you know, who has bold dreams, but also is wildly risk adverse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am always in awe, in just pure, inspired awe at people who can follow those yearnings, follow the whispers without having the details mapped out. I am
Mm-hmm.
always in awe at people who can do that. And you are one of those people. And I'm just so curious. I'm so curious about that piece of your story.
Yeah. Well, maybe I will scare you more, because I didn't do that once. I did that many times. Like, my first job was at a Mexican resort in Playa del Carmen, organizing the activities. And I did that job for a year. And one day I said, it's enough. I cannot take this anymore. This is not me. And I quit. And then I went to to my next job. After a year, I said, this is not me. And I quit. And I went to another job. And maybe after 2 years, I said, this is not me. So my soul was always this search, like, what is me? If this is not me, then what is? And I am serious when I say that I searched for at least 30 years. What is me? Like, what is the essence of what I need to do? So, when I started doing the Mind Rebel training and I learned about the hero's journey, so I realized that I had been in this monumental hero's journey all my life, like all these trials, and like being absolutely afraid and going back to the safety space where society, where my family, where the external influence was telling me to go. And I would start going that direction, and very soon my soul would start saying, no, when are you going to get it right? It's not here. So I did that at least 4 times in my life. And my sister tells me that I have a big star because, let's say I had $1,000 in my bank account. Right when I was like about $100, I would start looking for another job, and there's something would appear.
Wow.
And then I would go back. The only thing is that I would go back to the very
Right.
similar cycle. What was it exactly that made me this last time make it like the definite? I think it was my journey, my path in Reiki, trying to understand really what is the essence of the practice and what is the essence of life when I was doing my Reiki, my master's degree. because, and I think every time you interview me, I say the same thing, but most of Reiki trainings, when you want to become a Reiki master, you do a weekend or a couple of weekends, or if you're lucky, a couple of months. For me, it was more than 3 years looking at myself and taking every single event in my life and understanding who I was being, who I was becoming. So I think after 3 years of doing this, in this last jump, my soul finally took over and said, this is it. We are ready now.
And so this is it. We are ready now. And then can you paint the picture? Can you just, take us on the journey of that point to now? What did that look like?
Well, then you come with the reality. Like, I should have planned it better. Because again, I had no money.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I need to pay my bills. So I received a gift as a departure gift from my old job that I didn't like. So I brought it to the store that I love. It's a store that I love. And I brought it to exchange it for something else. And I saw where we are hiring. So I took a job there that could help me to pay my bills. And then I started going for my dream. So I started teaching. At the beginning, I had 2 students, 3 students, 4 students, and really becoming like the Reiki master preparation is not the 3 years that I did. Learning how to be a master is what I'm doing now, what I am intending to do now. That is the real mastery. It's when you start teaching and you really get to become the student of your students. So there was a lot of fear, a lot of mind rebel action saying, no, like, what are you doing? Go back to your safety spot. It's not going to happen. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You are thinking you are doing something, like, you are lost. But there was this voice, those whispers that were not whispers anymore, like, were loud, saying, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then I started trusting myself, in the sense that even though all these thoughts were very, very loud and present, I would say, you know what, I'm going to go and do this certification now. Because for 20 years, I didn't do, for almost 18 years, I didn't do anything else but Reiki. But then I said, oh, this sounds really interesting. Maybe this can complement what I'm doing. So I did a theta healing certification, and those are expensive classes. But just like taking that vow of trust that I can do this. And then the most, like, the biggest proof for me was when I met you, and I said, it was the pandemic, the year of the pandemic. And that was the year when I said, okay, I'm not going to do any other kind of job but what I like to do. Like, doing, at the time, I was already doing like holistic therapy, Reiki. I was teaching mindfulness and teaching Reiki. And I said to myself, okay, I'm not doing any more work at the store. I'm not taking any other contracts unless they are related to the spiritual realm. And then the pandemic hit, and the world stopped, and it was the opposite for me, because instead of going through all that difficult times that many people went, for me it was a space to be calm and to trust myself even more. And then I said yes to the mind rebel training. And for me, that was huge. That was huge because, like, investing in myself, that kind of investment was something that was no, like, impossible. But I did it, and you said it in our training, like, the more you trust yourself, the more you invest in yourself. It's like this account of self-confidence and self-love increases, and then wonderful things started happening. And since 2020, I have been purely earning my life by doing what I love, which is being present for other human beings.
Laura, was there any point in that journey where you seriously considered turning around and going back to the, the quote unquote ordinary world of that hero's journey,
Yeah,
meaning a corporate job, giving up on the dream? Was there any point where you seriously considered that?
I don't think so. No, I think I did. I did it so many times, like going back to that world,
Mm-hmm.
that at this point in my life, it's like I rather die. Like, I cannot see my life being being false to myself again.
Mm.
I have considered, though, instead of only being like working on my own projects, I have considered um, partnering with other entities like the Mind Rebel to do some work and to feel like it's not all on my on my shoulders. But even in the moments where I say, like, oh my God, like, it's not happening, and people keep talking about this recession, and I keep dreaming that it's gonna be possible. God has proved me again and again and again that the moments when I think that it's like it's too much for me, something happens that keeps me going. And I open a program and people register for the program, or something else happens that proves me again and again that when you are in alignment with your vision and with your soul, you can trust and it will happen. And you have taught me this, like, let go the details, let go how your little mind is trying to control, and just trust that the right way will appear.
What actually, let me go back. So, what I'm hearing you say is that, for so long you were repeating this cycle. Your soul was saying, nope, not this. You take steps forward and then kind of get sucked back in. And it was just, you were repeating this cycle until you had done so much work, inner work, examining yourself and sitting with yourself, being with your emotions, being with yourself, that was no longer like, going back was no longer an option.
Yeah.
To the point where when you drew that line in the sand and you said, this is, I am I am doing this, I am doing my soul's calling, I am doing my soul's work, that going back was not, what it was, again, was just not an option for you. From which I think is so, I think that piece is so important. I think we all have these different thresholds. Like, I could, when I think about my own story and how many times I felt stuck in the loop, and the loop feels like, for me anyway, I'm curious to hear how it felt like for you, Laura, but for me, it felt like year after year, maybe the environment changed, but I was sitting in the same position. I was feeling the same kind of way. I was pushing, it was like this, it was Groundhog Day over, and I was not moving the needle on my life. I was not growing. It felt like this perpetual Groundhog Day until you break yourself free of the cycle, whatever the heck that cycle represents to you, and say no more. And I think that we all have like those different threshold points, that those points of no return, those threshold points of these whispers of my soul get louder and louder and louder and get harder to ignore.
Yeah.
Laura, what happened to the perpetual depression that you had felt as a child, as a teenager, the sadness that what happened? How did that depression change or not change
Yeah.
after that point?
So it became a sacred part of my journey and a sacred element of my growth, because all those years that I was in the loophole of going in the same cycle and not being able to break it and feeling depressed, I see it now that it's not that I wasn't growing. Those were the moments and the experiences that I needed to go through. So today I can be really present for someone who is facing a big amount of sadness and depression. Yeah.
And that is something I observe of you, your capacity to hold the entire gamut of the human emotion, the human experience. Your capacity to hold that and to honor that is absolutely otherworldly, truly.
So this understanding that every single tear, every single contraction has been like my training to be who I am today makes everything worth. And today, I still go through those moments of sadness and depression, but there is this awareness and this knowledge that it's part of the journey and that it is okay to go to those dark spaces, because every time I believe I come back with a little piece of wisdom in my heart. So it's not that it disappeared, and I don't think it will ever do, but we are really good friends now. And I have learned how to take a very good self-care, like take care of myself, to be more gentle and to not judge me that much, at least not when I'm depressed. In other moments I may, but yeah.
We often think of helping others as this really selfless act, this giving, this act of giving. But I'm wondering, Laura, you had mentioned previously that you had read that, that question about what did you do today to help others, and that really woke something up inside of you. And if I look at your life today, your entire existence is devoted to helping others, and you help hundreds of people around the world. My question for you is, the selfless act of helping others, what does it give you?
Just to make sure, selfless is like you are not thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's possible, at least not in my degree of evolution. I think we're always always thinking about, like, our ego is and will be there, and it's there for a reason. It's part of our human experience. However, oh yeah, okay, now it's not about stop thinking about myself to in order to give, or in order to be present for others. It's about remembering that this illusion that we have of the self is just that. Like, really, there is no separation between you and I, between me and the politicians who are taking sometimes so terrible decisions. We are not separated. So when I do something for you, when I show up for a coaching session, or for a Reiki training, or for a Reiki circle, I am showing up for myself, because the moment I connect with other human beings, it's like we get nurtured at the same time. There is this phrase that says, if you heal, I heal. And I definitely, like, I truly, truly believe that. And sometimes I feel sad about all the publicity that is in our world right now, supporting this thing of liberate yourself and be yourself and take care of yourself and nourish yourself, mainly with women, right? But we are forgetting the service, like this part of when we open our heart to other human being, we are being present for ourselves at the same time. And it's a linear, like a parallel growth, I think.
From where you are today, from where you have landed in your vision today of, again, helping hundreds of people around the world, doing only what your soul wants to do, devoting your life's work to service and this soul work of helping others. What's next in your vision, Laura, as you stand firmly planted here? What's kind of looming in the distance for your vision?
I would say cultivating many more moments so I can be able to come back and to remind myself to be humble. I think that is part number one. And then I see that my work as channeling the essence of the universe, like love, will continue to grow. There is a project that I know is wonderful. I haven't received yet all the details, but I visualize a space where people can come and take what they need so they can remind themselves who they truly are.
A physical space.
Modernity, maybe it's going to be both, like an online space. But yeah, I visualize like this intention to expand this truth that love is the answer, and offer more outlets for that, so people can come and take what they need, and in the way that it will resonate with them. Because, for example, Reiki may not resonate with everyone, but maybe a truthful and authentic conversation like this one will. So yeah, that's what I'm envisioning.
You said you haven't received all the pieces yet. How do you, these downloads, these creative downloads that you get, Can you explain that a little bit more, what that feels like, what that creative downloading process feels like, looks like? How does it happen in you?
Yeah, it's very funny because when I sit specifically with intention to receive, I rarely receive something. To me, the downloads come a lot um, at night. Sometimes it's like I stop going into deep sleep, and then I am in another kind of consciousness where I start thinking about events, experiences, and I start receiving images. Or the shower, for example. When I take a shower, that's how the Love Summit experience happened. Like I was taking a shower and I started seeing the women who have truly inspired me, um, being on a space where they can share their truth about love. And then I received the list of names and I received the order. And then this year we launched the first edition, and I was truly blessed that you were available to be part of this project. So I think it's about, again, this trusting and letting universe to present the pieces in whatever way it will be, and then you are able to, from experience, create your own dictionary of what the signs mean, or how will you access a certain truth. You will get to know your own rhythm. For me, I know that when I really go and focus on it, it's harder than when I just
Mm,
trust. And I am watching something on Netflix and there is this idea that comes on my mind, or just this feeling from behind, like a lot here in this part of my head, that there is this knowing. It's not a voice, it's a knowing. It's hard to explain.
mm. Thank you for sharing that. I'm currently inside of a deep creative process, a reimagining. And, yesterday I had carved out my whole day and I was like, I am spending this entire day visioning, reimagining, and then putting pen to paper. And the visioning, reimagining part, ooh, was so juicy and so wonderful. And then when I was starting to put pen to paper and my head was starting to get into all the details and the hows and the what nexts, I was experiencing the blocks. And I started to do my process of, praying and doing all my cards and all my things to open up the
Yeah.
block, and it would not open up. And the more I wanted it to open up and become clear, the more it wouldn't open up. And so this is such a great reminder that
Yeah.
you can't force it. It's, you know, and this morning I woke up and I was starting to feel clearer, and the energy was starting to open back up. And I had a Voxer message from Michelle, and I went on my walk this morning after I got the kids on the bus, and I listened to the Voxer message, and she had an inspired idea, not even knowing what I was doing the day before. And that inspired idea burst open my block. It
Wow.
was, it was like I didn't have that piece of information the day I wanted it. And so that inspired idea burst open the blocks I was feeling, because I couldn't see it then, but and it's not perfectly clear, but I'm starting to see it now. And so that I find the creative process just such a beautiful dance, a dance with the divine, and a
Yes.
dance, and there nothing that can be forced or strangled, or it has to be on another timeline in another way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yeah. So you will receive the wisdom from anyone, anywhere,
Yeah.
when you are less expecting it, maybe. We just need to be present, so we don't miss
So we can
those
catch it.
times.
So we
Yes.
can catch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura, thank you so much for this conversation. And it's always such an honor and pleasure being in your energy.
Mm.
I've told you this many times before, but you anchor me right back to this earth every time I
Mm.
hear you speak. And every time I'm in your energy space. So thank you. Laura, how can people learn more about you?
First of all, I want to say thank you, because not only for this space, but for the big growth that being in your presence, my soul has achieved. Thank you, Taryn. So for people, well, you can reach out through my social media. My website is under construction right now, and I either Instagram or Facebook, and you can participate on the different events that I organize online. Some of them are free, some of them are like more specific trainings. And another way is that if you love Reiki and if you are close to Montreal or even ready to travel to Montreal, please come and be part of this, what I believe it to be a wonderful movement of love and remembering our truth inside. Yeah.
Mm. And I'll put all the links to your social media and your website, because people listening to this, your website might be done in time when someone might
Yes.
be listening to this. So I'll put all your links in the show notes. And again, Laura, thank you so, so, so much.
Thank you, my dear.
At the Mind Rebel Academy, we train and support world-class coaches and leaders. We believe that a person thriving inside of their life's work creates a ripple effect that will be felt for generations to come. If you have a yearning to more deeply impact those you love and serve, coaching can create a powerful outlet to step into your purpose. The MRA is wildly dedicated to our students and their potential. Becoming a coach is not something you do, it's someone you become. This is why we have designed our renowned ICF-accredited Mind Rebel Coach Training Series to be a unique blend of coach skills training and deep reflective self-discovery. The passion, integrity, and devotion that we bring to our programs creates an intimate, high-touch, and deeply transformative experience for our students. And to ensure that we maintain that level of service and support, our flagship coach training only begins once a year in the spring and is limited in size. Visit our website to learn more about our start dates and how you can apply to join at www.themindrebel.com. This is so much more than a training. This is your legacy.